Hello, mortals. I am the booktube goddess, the #1 drag queen booktuber on YouTube. Okay, we have to talk about the Poppy Wars by R.F. Kuang. Spoiler, it deserves all the praise that's been heaped on it. The Poppy Wars is a trilogy that includes the Poppy Wars, the Dragon Republic, and the Burning God. Now, I listened to the audiobook versions of the entire trilogy, and if you enjoy audiobooks, I highly recommend this version. The voice actor or narrator, Emily Wu Zeller, is chef's kiss. Or what's a chef's kiss? The dialogue is engaging, her voice is emotive, and you can really get lost in the world through her narration. Now, before we go forward, please subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. Help a booktuber out. So what is the Poppy Wars? It is set in a fantasy world based on Asian culture called the Nikan Empire. Now, I sort of first thought it was based on Nippon or Japan just because of the name, or maybe because I'm of Japanese descent, but it was more based on China. The main character starts off as a young girl named Fang Runin, or just Rin. She grows up as an orphan in the Rooster province, one of the poorer areas of the empire, and she is under the thumb of a mean foster mother, Auntie Fang, who sells black market opium. Her foster father is an opium addict who we don't see much of, and her foster brother, who is much younger than she is named Kusegi. Now, rather than get stuck in an arranged marriage, Rin studies to enter the Senegard Academy and trains to be a soldier. And there she learns shamanism, which is bonding with a god or goddess through meditation and drugs. Okay, let's talk about drugs. As the name Poppy Wars implies, opium plays a big role in the novel. In Nikon's past, there were 2 Poppy Wars. The first was under the reign of the Red Emperor, and I don't recall what opium had to do with it, but I'm sure it did. But more importantly, in the second Poppy Wars, there was a fight with the people of Mugen, the Mugenese, Japanese. And Mugen had subjected the Nikan people partially by getting them addicted to opium. And the second Poppy Wars was fought by the Trifecta, a trio of Nikan heroes who are shrouded by myth: the Dragon Emperor, the Viperess, and the Gatekeeper. The Dragon Emperor is dead, and the empire is currently ruled by an empress, Su Daji, and the 12 warlords who each control one of the empire's provinces. In summary, the world building is fantastic. There's rich history, religion, and politics. The Nikan Empire is still at odds with Mugen, and there's conflict brewing between these 2 nations. There's also some reference to Hesperia to the far west, who are modeled after Europeans and are the only white people in the novel, the rest, of course, being Asian. And the Hesperians don't play much of a role in the first book, but we find out more about them in the later books. Suffice to say, they are considered religious fanatics ruled by the One Church, who worships the Holy Maker. Spoiler alert, the One Church doesn't think much about shamans and Nikon's polytheism. One thing I really appreciated about the magic system in this world is how it is so tied in with the religion. It's not a highly detailed magic system with lots of rules and regulations, like, say, how Brandon Sanderson creates magic systems. It is more organic and spiritual. Your magic is based on whatever god or goddess bonds with you. Now, there is a little bit of a chosen one situation, as Rin's ancestors were bonded with the Phoenix god, and she starts exhibiting some of those shamanic powers. but she has to be trained and guided as a shaman if she doesn't literally burn out. And unlike some books where magic is only reserved for those with the right genes or chosen that way, in the Poppy Wars, almost anyone can gain magic powers through devotion and meditation and spiritual training, which I think is very refreshing. Now here's the twist. The pantheon of divine beings aren't nice guys. They represent elemental and primal powers. For example, a god of fire could be totally obsessed with destruction and burning down the world. So any magic user or shaman has to practically fight against the deity that grants their powers, or they go insane, and that makes this magic system really interesting. Another interesting twist is that Rin is an incredibly flawed character. In the middle of the second book, I kind of thought there could only be one ending, and by the third book, I was convinced of it, and yes, the author delivered in what I think was the only way the story could end. But you'll have to read the trilogy to find that out. Rin's major flaw, in my opinion, is that she has daddy issues. She's constantly looking for approval from male figures. First, it's her teacher at the academy, then it's the first commander she serves under, and then in book 2, it's a warlord who takes her under his wings. It is so frustrating as a reader. You want to shout at her, "Rin, stop it." But you can also kind of see where this is coming from because Rin is insecure, doesn't know how to channel her anger, and constantly seeking approval. She comes into her own in the third book, but the character arc really is kind of warped. Now, the Poppy Wars trilogy is what is labeled as Grimdark Fantasy. What is Grimdark? It has been described as anti-Tolkien. There are a lot of gray areas. Main characters are flawed. Good and evil are very blurred and indistinct. And it's a gritty, hyperreal, nihilistic style of writing. One of the questions that the Poppy Wars asks is there any redemption for genocide? Most people will say, hell no. But the Poppy Wars will get you questioning even that. By the way, people who watch me know I love a good anti-hero story and may be wondering, is this an anti-hero story? My answer is no. No, it's not. Because in anti-hero stories, the main character is decidedly or ultimately wrong and evil. The Poppy Wars doesn't let you get off that easily. Intrigued? You should be. The Poppy Wars trilogy gets my blessing. In fact, I give the entire trilogy 5 stars. Now, I thought the second book, The Dragon Empire, was only 4 stars, but after finishing the third book, there was no doubt in my mind that the trilogy as a whole deserves 5 stars. Now, if you don't like a story with moral ambiguity, lots of violence, and hard questions, this might not be the book for you. But if you are okay with all of that and love rich writing and deep world building, I say give the Poppy Wars a try. Until we meet again, may all the books you read be blessed.